שלום וברוכים הבאים למתאחדים למען ישראל. Welcome everyone to Uniting for Israel. My name is Dvir Abramovich, and most of you know me as chair of the Anti-Defamation Commission. But tonight, I am first and foremost an Israeli, a Jew, a Zionist, and a member of the Melbourne Jewish community and this synagogue. It's hard to describe how we are all feeling. Each one of us has either lost someone or has been deeply affected by this catastrophe. Our world has been darkened by the enveloping fires of pure savagery and evil, unleashed by an enemy whose bloodlust knows no bounds. Our nation is wounded. Like you, my spirit has been broken and my heart has been torn apart. A black hole has been carved in our chest. Seeing the footage from Israel, we all felt like we were looking through the gates of hell. There is nothing at this moment that can lift us from the depths of despair that we are feeling. There are no words that can diminish the unimaginable pain and the inexpressible loss that cuts so deep within. Tonight we join together in a sacred place of faith, hope, and healing with one common purpose: to remember, to pray, to offer a small measure of solace and comfort to the bereaved, to reflect and to sustain each other as a keilah, as a community, as we move forward on a long journey of healing from the burning scars within. We are here to also honor the courage and extraordinary selflessness of civilians, soldiers, and the first responders, and to pay gratitude to those who risked and give their lives with strength, bravery, and grace. In the crucible of October 7th and the days that followed, we saw the stuff that Israel and the Jewish world is made of. During these days of trial and grief, we saw millions of Jews around the world and here grab each other's hands and rally to the cause of Israel. World Jewry at its best. That is the Klal Israel that I know and love. We are united not only in our anguish, but in our resolve to stand for the country that we love and cherish. Tonight we recall the more than 1,200 beautiful and innocent souls murdered by barbaric criminals. They are the missing voices that will never be heard again, who will never say, "See you later, Mom," or "Talk to you soon, son," or "Will you read me a bedtime story, Safta?" Or "Hey, sis, want to sit on the couch and watch a movie?" Or will ask, "Dad, can you help me with my homework?" We cry for those who will grow up without parents. We weep for parents who will wake up every morning without their children. We shed a tear for husbands and wives who will have to find ways forward without their partners in their life. And we sob for brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts, loved ones and friends that will have to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries with a knife constantly turning in their heart. But those whose lives were stolen will never be forgotten. They will always remain precious to us. Their names and faces will be enshrined forever in the hearts of our nation. Their memories will shine everlastingly in those they have left behind. We in the Melbourne Jewish community will tell their stories so generations yet unborn will never forget them. The Israeli people will endure. They will overcome. We are Am Israel Chai. And there is nothing, literally, historically, and now, nothing and no force that can destroy us. We stand tall and unafraid because no act of terror, no act of savagery and depravity can match the fearless and valiant character of the Israeli people. So tonight, we make a vow that we will bear witness and never forget. I would like now to invite our Rabbi Moti Liberov, who's our Moshe, who has always been our moral guide, our lighthouse, our safe harbor, to say Tfilah Leshlom HaMedina.
Before I say the Tfilah, I'd like to open up the Aron HaKodesh and ask everybody to join me together as we say Tfilah Leshlom HaMedina. Please join together. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Barech, barech et Medinat Yisrael. Barech, barech et Medinat Yisrael. Hagen alea behevrat chazdecha uferos alea sukat shelomecha. Avinu, Avinu, sheba shamayim, tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, sheba shamayim, tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Hagen alea בעברת חסדך, ופרוס עליה סוכת שלומך, ושלח אורך ועמיתך לראשיה, שריה ויועציה, ותקנם בעצה טובה מלפניך. חזק את ידי מגיני ארץ קודשנו, והנחילם אלוהינו ישועה, ועטרת ניצחון תעטרם, ונתת שלום בארץ, ושמחת עולם ליושביה. Amen. Selah. Please remain upstanding.
I would like now to invite Haleli Kimchi, the head of Abayit, to say Tfilah lechalalei Tzahal.
מי שברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, לברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, העומדים על משמר ארצנו, וערי אלוהינו ביבשה, באוויר ובים. ייתן אדוני את אויבינו הקמים עלינו ניגפים לפניהם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור ויציל את חיילינו מכל צרה וצוקה, מכל נגע ומחלה. וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם. ידבר שונאינו תחתיהם ויעטרם בכתר ישועה ובעטרת ניצחון. ויקוים בהם הכתוב כי אדוני אלוהיכם ההולך עמכם, להילחם לכם, עם אויביכם, להושיע אתכם, ונאמר אמן.
Tonight is not a night for politics. I would like now to invite jointly David Southwick, Deputy Liberal Leader and the member for Caulfield, and Josh Burns, the member for McNamara, to stand shoulder to shoulder and to talk to you.
You may be seated.
You may be seated.
Shalom. I'm proud to be standing here with my friend David. Tonight, politics means nothing. We are one community, and we stand together. This last week, I found it really difficult, and I can't imagine what you have felt. I've been in touch with my family in Tel Aviv. I've been in touch with my friends. I've been in touch with friends who are living right on the border of Gaza, people who have fled up north and down south, taken little children, and I know that that is exactly what all of you have been doing as well. The scenes that we saw are unimaginable. The terror, the murder, the massacre, the innocence taken away. And we stand tonight with a firm commitment to honour those who were killed and to call out exactly what happened, that terrorism struck Israel. And yet the thing that we must never forget, and the thing that saddens me the most, is that the Jewish people always have to defend themselves against terrorism. And they have to defend themselves against those who seek to target the Jewish people. And somehow it's up to us to justify the actions that have been taken against the people that we hold dear. People who are dancing, people who are at home, people who are innocent, and people who are going about their daily lives. And there can be no moral equivalence between those who took 1,200 and more and counting Israeli lives and those who are just trying to prevent that from happening again. There is no moral equivalence between those who took innocent lives and those who are defending their people. So I stand here tonight, shattered, for my family, my friends, my community, but it is going to be hard for the next few weeks, for months. It's going to be hard here in Australia as the world turns and as the world tries to make Israel justify its actions. And the only way we get through this is to honour those who have fallen, to honour those who were killed, but to stand together as one Jewish community, as one people, united, strong, defiant, proud, as Jews, as Australians, as Israelis, as people of humanity. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
To my good friend Josh, the fact that we are as one is how our community must be as one. We must be together, we must fight together, we must support one another, we must grieve together, but we must come out of this and defeat the evils that try to defeat us. I was reflecting about what it is like when you lose a loved one, and unfortunately I've lost both my mother and my father, and many of you would feel the same right now. Many of you probably have felt the same at different times when you've lost a loved one, and your whole life just gets turned upside down. No matter what you're working on, no matter what you're doing, nothing is more important than thinking about the loss that you've been through. And I feel this week that that's where we've all been. That's what our life has now become. Nothing's more important than dealing with what we're all dealing with right now. We're glued to the television, we're glued to information, we're seeking more information. Many, particularly in our Israeli community, more than anyone in our community, has the connections, has family, needs information, is searching for information. And I think what is surprising, not surprising, but is probably different than just when you lose a loved one, is you've still got those people that have killed. They're seeking to kill, continue to murder. And so there's no time for grief, even though you want to grieve. There's no time to stop, because we can't stop. We can't have time just to reflect. We've got to deal with a situation to ensure there's no more loss. We've heard all kinds of things about Israel's right to defend itself, and quite correctly others have said Israel's obligation to defend itself. There's no other choice. No one should think that there is any other choice but to defend its citizens. You would expect nothing less from anybody. And the fact that that's being questioned, the fact that people would even contemplate that there is a moral equivalence of anything that's happened, those people are as bad as the murderers. I'm sorry to call it out, but they are just as bad as the murderers. Because at the end of the day, what has happened is unforgivable, what has happened. But we as a community must stay strong. And my message to you tonight is that we must be together. We must, as Josh and I are tonight, strong. We must continue to do that, because we will have weeks and months ahead. And there will be those already that we've seen that have taken what's happened in Israel here into Australia, into other communities around the world. We've seen the attacks in Sydney. We've seen the anti-Semitism already here in Melbourne. I spoke to Rabbi Rabin, who was just walking home the other day and had a car wind down the window and scream horrific things at him and his family while they were walking back. It's one of many. We're seeing it, we'll see it more. We'll see people that will, as Israel needs to do what it needs to do to restore peace and protect its citizens, people will question that. But we need to remind what these murderers have done. We need to, the images that is impregnated in all of our minds that we have seen, all of those images, we must make sure that not only we never forget them, that every single Australian that has never seen this kind of thing doesn't forget it as well. Because when 9/11 happened and the American government and its people went to search the murderers and bring justice, no one questioned that. No one questioned what happened beyond. And no one should question what Israel needs to do to restore peace. No one should ever question that. So together we stand. We must fight together. There is work to do. And I say to you going forward, whether it will be calling up a radio station, whether it will be getting on social media, whether it will be working with Israeli community and attending rallies, talking to other people, they're all the things that we will need to do going forward, because there is work to be done, my friends, and we will do it together, and we will ensure that there will be peace that will be restored. I wanted to finish tonight with just sharing with you words from a 14-year-old, which her mother shared with me today. And I think it means a lot, and this is not somebody that has any Israeli connection, but I think what these words say, that as Israelis and as Jews, we stand together This is a war not just on Israel, but it is a war on Jews as one. 14-year-old student Rachel said, "This war has gotten to a point where it's not about Israel, it's about Jews, all Jews of the world, which neo-Nazis are wanting to wipe out. The Holocaust was said to never again. Wake up, it's happening right before our eyes. History repeats itself." As an Australian Jew who has no genetic connection to Israel or the war, wanted by dead people protesting about the war. No, these people have been waiting for this moment to spread their baseless hatred towards Jews when neutral people are gullible enough to believe them. My heart goes out to all the innocent brothers and sisters of Israel. I'm praying for their survival. However, I, a Jew in Israel, in Australia, as long as the rest of the 8 million Jews not living in Israel are targeted with overwhelming amounts of hate towards our religion. DMSs about being sent about my race. Who are the people being racist and humane? Not us, it's them. But am I proud to be a Jew, even after all of these events? 100%. I will be supporting my brothers and sisters in Israel until the day I die. Even though times are rough and it's easy just to shut our eyes on this blatant anti-Semitism, we must not let it get the best of us. We are strong, we have won before, and we will win again. Am Israel Chai.
Can we leave it for later, please?
Yeah, no, but it's a thanks.
Oh.
It's a thanks. I want to thank you for your work. I appreciate it. It means a lot. It would also mean a lot to us if you can say these messages, not just to us, but also to your colleagues as well. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like now to invite Aviad Rahmani. Please. Aviad Rahmani is a member of Kibbutz Alumim, which is 2 kilometers from Gaza. In Kibbutz Alumim, his friends, as first responders, defended the kibbutz for 6 hours against 30 Hamas terrorists. They were able to evacuate families. They were able to protect those who were wounded. And I would like now to invite Aviad to light Ner Zikaron Lanoflim, a memorial candle for the fallen. Toda, Aviad. I would like now to call to the stage Karen Levinson. Karen was born and grew up in Kibbutz Kfar Aza. Her entire family was there during the savage attacks, and she will share some of her reflections and thoughts. Karen.
Hell on earth. At 3:45 p.m. on Saturday, I received an alert on my phone from Ynet about suspected terrorists in the area of my kibbutz, Kfar Aza. I rushed to call my mum, who couldn't answer as they had poor reception because they were already in the bomb shelter. She then messaged me to say, "Karen, we're in the mamad, and so is Alon and family and Michal. We are fine. I even managed to make myself coffee. I'll keep you updated." At 5:36 p.m, I received another message from my mum telling me that apparently there's some casualties on the kibbutz. I was lost for words, but this was only the beginning of a mass slaughter that was unfolding all around them. For the next 16 hours, I was messaging our family chat every 15 minutes for updates. The responses were that things are only getting worse. At 9:50 p.m, my sister sent a message saying that her phone is about to go flat and she had no electricity. My brother responded, "Michal, don't make any moves, stay as quiet as possible." We lost contact with my sister for almost 12 hours. 12:30 a.m. Sunday morning, my mum wrote on the family chat, "Where the hell is God? Just want my children and grandchildren to be safe." At 7:50 a.m., I messaged my nephew Daniel. As no one else was answering, he replied to say, "Saba and Safta have just been rescued and we are hoping they will come to rescue us soon." Later on, 10 a.m., Daniel messaged me to say they're now together with my parents at the petrol station outside the kibbutz. They've finally been rescued, but no words from Michal. At that point, we were certain that she has either been killed or kidnapped. We haven't heard from her in more than 12 hours, and she wasn't with the people that have been rescued. An hour later, I finally received a message from my mum to say that she has just heard Michal is alive. She's with the army and in the process of being rescued. It took another 8 hours for the army to evacuate her to safety. My family have all been saved, all 8 of them. They must have had angels looking over them. Others weren't so lucky. Faraz's family has lost more than 60 members, grandparents, children and babies. Many more are still missing. Our closest family friend, Tal Eilon, has been killed. He was the mefaked of the Kitat Konenut, the first response unit made of ex-soldiers who are kibbutz members. Tal was like a brother. My family friend Smadar has been killed. Her husband was injured and his body hasn't been found. The 6 and 8-year-old boy and girl hid in the cupboard and called their grandmother Shlomit, who was overseas, to tell her what had happened. For the next 10 hours, she was on the phone with them until they could be rescued. Smadar's little girl was found by the neighbour as she was wandering around outside the house. He took her into his mamad with his wife and 3 kids. They were all later on kidnapped. This morning I found out that my childhood friend Yahav has been killed. The terrorists tried to enter through the bedroom window, and Yav tried to push it back while his wife Shaili and 4-week-old baby Shaya escaped through the front door. Shaili then ran into a shed across the grass from their house, right behind my parents' house, and hid in there for a while, hoping that little Shaya won't start crying. After about 30 minutes, when Shaya started to cry, Shaili decided she had to run out of the shed to find a safer location. She ran between houses until someone saw her through the window and let her in. She was in the bomb shelter with this family for another 19 hours, with no food for the baby and inhaling fumes from smoke coming from the next door house, which has been burnt. Yav saved Shaili and Shaya's life. The song Etzlenu Bagan was written after the Second Lebanon War about losing loved ones. It is surrealistic as Shaili is the singer of this song. She never thought that one day this will become her reality.
את חלקם אני אוהב
like now to invite Galia Hartman to say tefillah for the hostages, Mi sheberech lashvuim. And following Galia's recitation of the prayer, we will hear from her husband, Ronen Hartman, via Zoom from Israel.
מי שברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, יוסף, משה ואהרון, דוד ושלמה, הוא יברך וישמור וינצור את נעדרי צבא ההגנה לישראל ושבוייו, ואת כל אחינו הנתונים בצרה ובשבייה, בעבור שכל הקהל הקדוש הזה מתפלל בעבורם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם ויוציאם מהחושך וצל מוות, ומסורותיהם ינתק, וממצוקותיהם יושיעם, וישיבם במהרה לחיק משפחותיהם. יודו לאדוני חסדו ונפלאותיו לבני אדם. יקוים בהם מקרא שכתוב, ופדויי אדוני ישובון, ובאו ציון ברינה, ושמחה עולם על ראשם, ששון ושמחה ישיגו, ונסו יגון והנחה. ונאמר אמן.
אמן.
I would like to start with the good news that we got from the last few days. Ronen's mom, Ruth Haran, was rescued from her safe room, the Mamad, after being locked up for over 30 hours under heavy gunfire to her home. She is recovered and doing well, a true lioness. She is now with her remaining family members in Beersheba, providing strength and support. We do not know the fate of the rest of the family from Kibbutz Be'eri. I want to tell you a little bit about our missing loved ones, the pieces of our hearts. Sharoni, Ronen's sister, is a drama therapist. She takes care of preschool children with disabilities. She oversees training staff and families. Her work is sacred, and she gives her all every day. Her daughter Noam is 12 years old, the same age of my son Ido. She celebrated her bat mitzvah last month. Avshal, Ronen's brother, is one whom everyone knows, not only because of his job as the kibbutz secretary and the CEO of Mishkei Kibbutzim, which concentrate the purchasing power of the kibbutz movement, but mostly because he helps and touches everyone's life. Avshal makes time, uses his contacts and ability to help and do good. He is the spine of our family. Avshal's wife, Dr. Shoshan Haran, has a PhD in plant protection. She conducts research on seeds quality, and she is the founder of Fair Planet, an international non-profit organization whose purpose is to give African farmers new economic opportunities to improve their quality of life. Also visiting for the holiday, Avshal's and Shoshan's eldest daughter, Adi, a psychologist, and her husband, Tal, along with their two young children, Naveh, 8 years old, and Yahel, 3 years old. Lilach, Shoshan's sister, a social worker, with her husband Evyatar Kipnis, who is seriously ill and needs medical support. Everyone was together to celebrate the holiday and were attacked in their homes. We pray for their safety. Even in light of this terrible personal tragedy, I want to acknowledge the tremendous and pouring support we witness in Israel across many sections and differences, political, ethical, racial, geographical. People put their differences aside and come to help any way they can. I heard stories of people who came to rescue the young people who went to the party and were stranded or hiding in fields and nearby bunkers. Some people gave their homes to family who were rescued. Some people stood in line for hours to donate blood. Others helped in hospitals, prepared packages, gathered supply, or took care of lost family pets. This morning I saw a posting from the Tel Aviv that some Tel Aviv restaurants got kosher designation for their kitchen just so they can prepare meals for soldiers and able to distribute them without differentiating who eat only kosher and who doesn't. Those actions give us strength and bring us closer together. In this terrible time and feeling of helplessness and despair, those acts of kindness and love are the only things that we can do to help and support each other. Let me finish my thoughts with a quote from Yair Lapid's speech today. Yair said, "I know we have your support. I don't want a sympathy that's reserved for victims. I'm not a victim. Israel is a strong country caught in a moment of weakness. We will come back from this stronger and better. Remember your support next week as well, and the week after, when we will act in Gaza in all our might and make sure this will never happen again." Thank you.
שומעים אותי?
כן.
שומעים אותי?
Yeah.
כן. אוקיי, נתחיל. שלום לכולם. ננסה לשנות סדר עברית, ואני אנסה להסביר מה שקורה. אני אתייחס בשלב ראשון למצב האירוע שלנו בקיבוץ בארי. ביום שלישי, אתמול, בשעות אחר הצהריים, הסתיימו הקרבות בקיבוץ. ובפעם הראשונה היה אפשר להתחיל מה גודל האסון באמת מה שקרה שם. אני אתייחס בנתונים קצת קשים. אתמול בשעות אחר הצהריים נאספו 150 גופות מתוך שדרות הקיבוץ במקומות השונים. כל כולם של אזרחים, גברים, נשים וילדים. כרגע הנושא הוא בבדיקה על מנת להבין ולזהות את כולם. במקביל יש תהליך מורכב ומסובך לנסות ולהבין בני הערובה השבויים, איפה הם ומה מצבם. מופעלים טכנולוגיות שונות, אם זה בתחום של איסוף טכנולוגי ומודיעיני, ואם זה על בסיס המדיה והסרטים שמופיעים. נכון לנקודת הזמן הזאת, זוהו כ-60 שבויים בלבד, וכנראה מדובר על מעל 100. למיטב ידיעתנו אין לנו שום מידע גם לגבי נושא הקורבנות וגם לגבי נושא השבויים, איפה נמצאים בני המשפחה. אני עכשיו אכנס בקצרה לעוד משהו בתפיסת העולם. את מרבית שנות חיי עסקתי בעולם הערבי וכל מה שקשור בו, ואני מכיר אותם היטב. ואני רוצה לציין, יש את המדינות שאיתם עשינו הסכמים, יש מדינות שאנחנו איתם בתהליכים, ואולי נגיע לשלום. חמאס, יש לו מהלך אחד, ברצונו להשמיד. זה לא רק ישראלים, זה יהודים, זה נוצרים, וזה מוסלמים מתונים. וזה מה שהם עשו הפעם. אני לא ארחיב בפורום הזה על הטבח, על התוצאות שנעשו, ולא היו כל עוד קודם. אז באמת אני מקווה שעם ישראל ביחד ימצא את הדרך הנכונה איך לסיים את הכל ושנגיע לימים חדשים וטובים.
על אלה אני בוכייה. עיני יורד המים, כי רחק ממני מנחם משיב נפשי. היו בניי שוממים, כי גבר אויב. Rabbi, the last few days, people have texted me and asked me, Rabbi, can you please share with us some words of comfort, some divrei chizuk? Od rachak mimeni menachem. I don't have the words. I don't have any words of wisdom. I have no clever expressions. I have no clarity. Because never, since the Shoah, have over 1,000 Jews been murdered on one day. And on what day? Simchat Torah. Such disturbing images and headlines that emerge every moment, that even in our darkest dreams we could have never imagined it. And I dare say, even in our enemies' worst dreams, they could have never imagined it. Such confusion of thoughts, such madness of mind, such bleeding of our live, of our hearts. You know, when one person dies, even when one person dies, we all gather in their house and we say, as I've said yesterday to a friend sitting Shiva, Hamakom yinachem etchem, that the Almighty God should comfort you, betoch sha'ar avilei Tzion v'Yerushalayim, amongst all those who mourn for Zion and Yerushalayim. But today we all are mourning for Tzion and Yerushalayim. Who is here left to comfort us? Who but Hashem could perhaps give us a little bit of nechama in these darkest of moments. But here we are. Why are we here? If you want to look to the future, you go back to the past. 3,000 years ago, at the dawn of our Jewish history, the first great Jewish leader, Moshe, saw a vision. He saw a vision that was the impetus of him calling out that one word, a word that has brought me here today, and I believe that has brought all of us here today. And that word is Hineni. When he saw the famous sneh, he didn't see a bush burning. He saw the burning history of our people throughout the ages. He saw all the troubles and all the massacres and the millions of Jews who have been killed throughout the ages still this week in our homeland Israel. And it was in that moment that you heard his name, Moshe, Moshe. And without asking any questions, he said, Hineni, here I am. When there is a fire burning on the heads of our people, we don't ask any questions. We stand, we come together for no other reason, just to say, Hineni, here I am. Here we are together. What can I do for my people? What can I do for my homeland? What can I do to help? Hineni, here I am. But we are here to say together a prayer from the depth of our souls. Ribono shel olam, תן לעמך ישראל לחיות בשלום. תן וכבר יבוא סוף לשפיכות הדמים ולשנאה. תן לכל הפצועים המתנסרים בייסוריהם רפואה שלמה. תן וכל הנתונים בצרה ובשביה שיחזרו בקרוב לחיק משפחותיהם. תן לחיילינו ניצחון מהיר במלחמה הזאת שנכפתה עלינו, ושיחזרו כל אחד ואחת מהם בשלום הביתה. תן כוח לכולנו, לכל עמך בית ישראל, שנצא בקרוב מיגון לשמחה ומאבל לאור גדול ולגאולה. For ריבונו של עולם, what else did our people ever want, if not simply to be able to live in safety without fear in a little place we can call Habayit, our home? But there is something else why we are here. And I think of that story that I heard many years ago from our tradition. A very strange story, but it has a message. It's about two brothers who came to Shlomo HaMelech. They had a fight. Their father had passed away and left them an inheritance, left them in Yerusha. And they argued about it. One said, let's split it in half. One part for you and one part for me. And the other one said, you see, I have one body, but I was born with two heads. So I am two people. So I want double. And they came to whom? To King Solomon. What would you do? And King Solomon, tradition tells us, told them to bring a boiling pot of water, boiling hot water. And he said, let's do the following test. I'll take that boiling water and I'll pour it on one of those heads. If only one head is crying and the other head is smiling, then you are two people. But if when I pour it on one head, both heads start crying, you may have two heads, but you're one person. For way too long, in Israel and around the world, in our communities around the world, in families around the world, we have seen too many divisions, too many heads, tearing a country apart, tearing communities apart, tearing families apart. But when our enemies try to pour boiling water, when our enemies try to pour boiling water even on one head, what do? No more divisions. We all scream out together. We all cry out together. These animals, disguised in human bodies, these Chayot Adam, when they went from home to home, in kibbutzim and all around where they came, they did not ask before butchering, raping, and kidnapping, and burning people and children alive. They did not ask them, are you religious or secular? They did not ask them, are you pro-government or anti-government? They did not ask them, are you sitting on this side of the mechitza or that side of the mechitza, or you prefer no mechitza whatsoever? They did not ask him if you're Ashkenazi or Sfaradi, if you are an Israeli Jew or a Jewish Jew. They understood that a Jew is a Jew is a Jew. Am echad anachnu. We are one people. So if when our enemies pour boiling hot water, not on one of us, if when that happens we all come together, if today, why not every day? That's the call of the moment. Ahavat chinam. We cannot survive one without the other. Full stop. And that is why the moment the news broke out, the tragic news broke out, we've decided here in Melbourne to come together, Habayit with Hamerkaz, to come together, to unite together, to make that one statement loud and clear, for today and forever, Am echad anachnu, we are one people, and no difference, no divisions. We cannot survive one without the other. One final thing. The Navi Zechariah said, Lo b'chayil v'lo b'koach, ki im beruchi. Not with might and not with strength, just with my spirit, the godly spirit. Ben Gurion said, Gam b'chayil v'gam beruach. We need them both. We need Jewish might and Jewish spirit. Our enemies try to murder not just our bodies, but our spirit. But we will not let them, we will never let them destroy our spirit. So today I ask you all, as you walk home and you watch the news, switch off the news occasionally to look after yourself, but instead Don't switch off for a second to think, what can I do for Israel? Let's do a mitzvah for Israel. Let's do something good, a good deed for Israel. Let's give money. Yes, tzedakah, money, to help our brothers and sisters in Israel. Let's light this Friday night a candle for so many young girls and women who no longer can light a Shabbat candle this week. Let's share posts and become ambassadors for Israel. And let's become ambassadors for one another. Let's be there for one another with avat chinam, to lift our spirits and to bring a little bit of light to that world that has become filled with darkness. Today is our day. This is our moment as Israelis and as Jews. I want to leave you with this. The non-Jewish prophet Bilam said about the Jewish people, Kara shachav ka'ari uchelavi miyekimenu. He crouched, he lay down like a lion, like a lioness, who will rouse and lift him. My dear friends, my dear brothers and sisters, our enemies have tragically succeeded this past Shabbat to cause our people to crouch, to lay down. Yet despite it, let the world know that even when we are on the floor, we are still an Ari, we're still a lion, we're still a Lavi, we're still a lioness. And our people are and will forever remain lions and lionesses. And Yekimenu, we will rise again. We will be lifted again. We always were and we always will, with Hashem's help, stronger and brighter together. Nothing will ever be able to break our spirit. From Haman to Hamas, our enemies have tried to destroy us, but they will not succeed. Throughout the ages, they have tried to rob us from our hope, from our tikva bat shnot alpayim, for a world of peace and a world of geula, but they will not succeed. In the words of David HaMelech, Utzu eitza v'tufar v'dabru davar v'lo yakum ki imanu el am Yisrael chai. Let's repeat together with me. Am Yisrael chai.